What is up, guys? It's Flash back with some more charts, another video. It's Tuesday, June 17th, about 5:25 p.m. Eastern. Guys, I launched a membership, I launched a subscription. I'm going to be doing a daily video every day at 8 a.m. Eastern. We're going to be doing pretty much a condensed version of this. We're going to be looking at Bitcoin, MSTR, some Bitcoin treasuries, other stocks, maybe some other cryptos if they're applicable, looking at momentum analysis. So just going to be doing this every single day. Again, if you guys want to subscribe or become a member, Hard Money Heroes, feel free to join, and I'm going to start doing these videos every day. So tomorrow is Wednesday the 18th. Expect the first daily video to start then. Other than that, let's get into the charts, guys. Here, I'm going to go through my regular cadence. We're looking at Bitcoin on the 2-day time frame. Right now, we're at a 76 out of 100 in terms of confidence we're at the peak. And so I don't think we're at the peak yet. I still think we do have some room to the upside here. So again, you got that target about around, I think, October, November, 250 plus-ish, 275K. I think that's a pretty conservative estimate right now. You'll kind of see the theme of this video today is to kind of zoom out a little bit, kind of like every video I have. But here's the second picture. Here is that same image, right? That same indicator, the power law, the rainbow wave. You can see my target is still on the screen. We're just in the regular scale now, right? And we're on the weekly time frame. So this thing is really zoomed out. But you can see, at Money or Debt, he is a great follow on X. He's plotting Bitcoin versus gold, Bitcoin measured in gold, and how there is a power law that exists, Bitcoin measured in gold. Moral of the story, guys, I'm pretty sure we're dealing with a superior monetary technology, a superior long-term asset. I love the way he phrases this, right? For all the reasons that I'm not going to get into right now, I do think Bitcoin is a superior asset. But again, just good to zoom out and let's think about, yes, we may have a blow off top here in late 2025, but that doesn't necessarily mean we can't come back down in 2027, right? So I would be expecting the power law to continue. Bitcoin is growing, it's scaling, it is a new monetary system, a new monetary network. Power law and power trends, they're found in the growth of cities, the growth of religion. I really got to dive into this stuff. And, I don't think this is something to mess around with. Day trading something like this, I don't think is in anyone's best interest. So I think that's why I'm here, guys. And that's why I kind of want to do this daily video, is to really be your quant, right? And I want to help myself and also help you guys navigate these cycles, the business cycle, liquidity, all the things that go into, Bitcoin's adoption as a new monetary system, right? And taking advantage of, maybe we can look at MSTR, look at some other companies that are taking advantage of this too. So that's why I want to do this, subscription membership. All right, moving on. Bitcoin on the daily time frame. This is with a 96-day offset, global M2 pushed forward by 96 days. You can see again, we've deviated severely the last 30 days, but 60, 90 days, we're still kind of holding up. So the highest 30, 60, 90-day average I found is 96 days, right? And that's 56.3%. Again, this looks pretty good. It just kind of flows. You can kind of see this little peak here. There was also a mini weird little peak here in Bitcoin. And then, we rounded out here. I still think, we're climbing up and to the right to this target, right? This is a sense of direction up and to the right. We're not going to necessarily know the dollar of the price of Bitcoin per se. I think this is just kind of giving us direction. And again, here is a 97-day offset. So gold pushed forward by 97 days. You can see it's a stronger correlation. And if you really zoom in here, we are, tick for tat, it's almost really spot on right now. So again, I am sensing liquidity is coming, a big run of liquidity, and then another run of liquidity, right? And then I think we maybe take a break, in August through September, and then we're going to kind of see what happens here towards the end of the year. But when we overlay both of them, again, guys, this isn't necessarily going to line up day for day. This is more so a general direction. Where is liquidity coming? How is the business cycle doing? And how can Bitcoin kind of react to all the stuff that's going on? So again, up and to the right. Okay, then when we add in the pink line, this is MSTR, the pink line. Again, just looks like crayons, looks like some finger painting. Could be considered artwork. Maybe I'm an artist in another life. I'm not sure. But again, if you kind of, you gotta, it's difficult to line this up, right? But this points to some pretty high targets. If Bitcoin can kind of make its way up to 200 or so K, you look here on the left hand side, that's kind of where, according to how this is lined up, that's where MSTR would be. And so I wanted to also zoom out and consider the rainbow wave, the power law, and Bitcoin. And again, the pink line is MSTR lined up, 0-day offset. It's just kind of lined up. I threw it on the chart, and I really tried to line this up pretty good. So I tried to do it from here, this bottom in March 2020, up until 2021, 2022. And you can kind of see, like, once you line that up, MSTR does go down a little bit harder to the downside, and it also goes up higher to the upside, when you measure in Bitcoin or when you have Bitcoin in the background. So, I think my takeaway here is if we do get up to like 250K Bitcoin, like I think, MSTR is going to be like up here, right? So again, just kind of goes back to, I don't think we can count these higher targets out quite yet. And so here is the Bitcoin chart with the power law, power trend indicator on the logarithmic time scale. So this is kind of, this is what Bitcoin's price history has been, and here's how I believe it's going to continue, right? We're at 104K today. This thing is just going to keep, going up and down, but ultimately we're going up and to the right. So all of this into consideration, now we look at MSTR measured in Bitcoin. So you have this super powerful chart right here, and now you have this MSTR, which looks like, this could be ultimately, a significant breakout coming for MSTR measured in Bitcoin. Again, I'm just looking at lines on a chart. I don't necessarily want to talk about any narratives or any news-driven price action right now for these couple slides, but this is just kind of what I'm seeing, right? So big bull, big rounded consolidation, rounded bottom. If we go to our next slide, this is that same chart, just zoomed in a little bit more, right? So MSTR measured in Bitcoin on the 2-day time frame kind of looks like a Wyckoff accumulation schematic, right? So you have your spring here, your test, your LPS, your sign of strength. We could be consolidating right here as a sign of strength. Again, this is just, I'm not sure if this is right or not. This is just something I'm kind of comparing it to. But we're kind of up into the up. We're squeezing up into this corner right here. So I'm really interested to see what's going to happen. If we zoom into that right-hand corner, again, this is on the 12-hour time frame. We continue to kind of flag out here, MSTR measured in Bitcoin. We're in this rounded bottom shape. Again, this could be our sign of strength region if we go back to this chart, kind of just consolidating right here. So again, super interested to see what is going to happen here. Are we going to break up and break out of this, or are we going to fall and break down? There are times, I look back here, what was price doing back here? What was price doing back here? If we really zoom in, we could be in for some sort of fake out, maybe we kind of fall down here and then quickly shoot back up. I'm not really sure, guys. I'm just going to continue following and posting for you. If we look at MSTR measured in Bitcoin, we can pull up an indicator I like to use, which is the distance percentage from the 30-period moving average. So in this case, we're on the daily time frame. We're looking at the 30-day moving average, and this can just kind of give you a sense of momentum and energy, right? So we want this light blue line to break out of this kind of downtrending sloping resistance line. That's going to give us an energy release. That's going to give us clearer skies to the upside, and that's something that I'm going to be watching on a daily basis and notifying you guys about when I see a good setup. If we zoom into just MSTR measured in US dollars, right? This is on the 3-hour time frame. So again, on the 3-hour time frame, you get this big, energy consolidation. This is building up energy, and I think it wants to release it either up to the upside or to the downside, right? But you can see this big consolidation, right? If we look at the last run up we had back in September through December of 2024, this had some little pennants, right? Some little triangles, some little bull flags, some little descending wedges all along the way, right? And so what I think we're doing right now excuse me, is just a this is on a grander scale, a bigger scale. We're tapping into the bond market. Like, there's more investors now. Like, this is a bigger market I think we're playing in, so I think we're going to see some bigger swings, right? So these felt like big swings back when we were making this run, but now I think these swings are going to be massive, right? So I would expect to see bigger consolidations, maybe longer consolidation periods. But as soon as this breaks out, on that daily video, I'm going to let you guys know when it breaks out and what I'm seeing. All right, MSTR on the 2 hour. So I know we're really zooming into the weeds here right now, but I think this is, again, just kind of fun to show you guys. Domed consolidation, right? And we kind of broke out, and looks like we did a little bit of a retest. Right, so what does this price action compare to? Well, I looked back on Bitcoin on the daily time frame, and it's a whole different time frame, whole different ball game. But you have a very similar consolidation, right? Where you broke out, and then there was a deep back test here back in April, and then you kind of shot up and started going up and to the right, right? So when we look at MSTR, is that going to happen exactly? I'm not sure yet, but I thought this was a really interesting comparison. Bitcoin on the daily, MSTR on the 2 hour. All right, so now let's look at MSTR, and I just this doesn't look that bearish to me, right? Like, this looks pretty bullish. When you kind of zoom out and you put it on the line chart, we're very close to actually a breakout, it seems. So when we overlay the M2, again, we're crazily deviated, right, in the last 30 days. But I want to continue kind of overlaying this and just kind of seeing how the price reacts. The 60 and 90 day has about a 70% correlation, so we've definitely deviated from the M2. When we look at gold, we're still kind of in maybe a similar consolidation range. Gold kind of broke out. MSTR is still kind of be consolidating, right? But again, I just want to continue kind of playing this out, seeing this overlay, this M2 and gold overlay through, and letting you guys know, what to make of this data, right? It's one thing to kind of manipulate the chart and make it look really good and really pretty, but I think we should kind of stick with our initial strategy and just kind of continue following these offsets, right? So if we take a previous fractal of MSTR, right, in early 2024, I think it was maybe February up until mid-March, and we overlay it to here, like, this is definitely telling of MSTR can go up very, very quickly. It can catch a lot of people off guard. So I just wanted to kind of mention that, like, this can run super fast. And when we think about this parabola that we're in, it makes sense that the higher up on a parabola you go, the faster price action can appreciate and accelerate. So I thought this was a pretty interesting chart. These targets with Bitcoin are from MicroStrategist ballistic acceleration model. I know he's maybe taken he's tweaked it a little bit. I think he's removed, 500, 400, 300. He's removed a lot of these, right? Because these are just crazy targets, and I definitely agree. But if Bitcoin is going to appreciate this quickly, let's talk about, what could drive MSTR's price action to do this, right? And so when you think about that, here's Jeff Walton's post. As of 6/16/2025, MSTR is sitting on roughly 13.9 billion quarterly gain, which will now flow to net income, right? So Walmart's net income over the last 12 months was 18.8 billion. They're the 10th largest publicly traded company in the USA with a 757 billion market cap. So even the 63,000 Bitcoin that MSTR purchased this quarter currently has a gain of about 669 million. Palantir's net income over the last 12 months was 571 million. They're the 24th largest publicly traded company in the USA. Assuming Bitcoin closes by June 30th, greater than $94,000, MSTR would post their first positive FASB fair value accounting quarter ever and qualify for the S&P 500 for the first time ever. This would be MSTR's first earnings report with greater than 500 million gain in company history. So if today's Bitcoin prices hold, this would blow out MSTR's largest historical net income quarter by 30x. This will be the first time the broader TradFi ecosystem will see the real gap accounting power of adding Bitcoin to the balance sheet. Many that have looked at MSTR stock performance and tried to match it to Gap financials have been completely bewildered and write it off as a Ponzi without digging any deeper. This phenomenon will change all changes this quarter. I think many algos have this Bitcoin valuation priced in. However, I believe there are a decent cohort of them that do not. An algo is only as good as the coder/team that puts it in place. This can result in a whipsaw of volatility as a new extremely powerful Bitcoin denominated asset gets repriced in an archaic fiat denominated system, price to earnings ratios, PEG ratios, PB ratios, etc. I also believe there's a monumental amount of large capital in traditional finance that will finally wake up once MSTR's Bitcoin is fairly accounted for in Gap financials. Bitcoin can no longer be ignored. There are 11 trading days left in the quarter, 15 for Bitcoin. We're on the final days of being able to front run those that have front run us for decades. Bitcoin and MSTR are going higher. I think Jeff Walton nails it. I think his analysis is incredible. And I think that's what could justify this price action going straight up and to the right. I also would consider the liquidity, the business cycle. Like this stuff is all kind of adding up, guys. So I know this was a longer video. If you guys want this daily, join the membership, and I'll see you all tomorrow morning if you do. Otherwise, I'll see you in a few days for another video like this one. Talk to you soon.